All right, folks, so over the next few videos, we're gonna do something a little bit different. This past spring, I met up with the guys from the Vortex Nation Podcast. They came down to Florida and took a bow building class with me and produced some very, very well done videos while they were there. The first video, we're gonna make bows, and they make some very nice bows in this. It's gonna go through the entire process of building a couple of Osage Orange longbows. In the second video, we're gonna go out into the field and shoot these bows. We're gonna go do some stump shooting. And then the third video is all about going out into the woods and selecting the perfect Osage tree. There's some great information in these videos, so let's get started.
All right, what's up, guys?
Turn right.
We're down here in Florida, North Florida. We keep passing these super sweet canals. I almost brought a fishing rod. I was this close to bringing a fishing rod. I probably should have. I saw a kid rigging up his rod back there. But really, that's irrelevant because we're down here to build bows with master bow builder, Boyer, Clay Hayes, expert outdoorsman, amongst other things. But super excited. We're going to get down here. We're going to go try and actually source a tree from the wild today. It looks like the weather might turn this afternoon, so we're not going to be able to do that today. Hopefully we get to do that this trip. We'll see. But right now we're going to go meet up with Clay and see what he's got going on and start building some bows.
What's happening?
Good to see you.
Good? Good? Yeah.
I always lived in here.
I know.
How are you?
Clay?
Clay.
I'm Jimmy.
Yes, sir. Have we met?
I think we have. It's been a while though.
Yeah. And
Ryan.
Ryan. Same with you, Ryan.
And then you got Cooper
Nice
behind
Cooper.
the camera. So, oh geez, look at these guys. This is awesome. So is this your family property here, or what's going on here?
Yep. This is where I grew up.
Okay.
And my grandfather bought up a bunch of land back in the Depression, and he has, it's all been dispersed to his children now. So it's, I don't know. All this is my dad's place, and then all around is, my aunts and uncles.
Okay.
So as a kid, I had hundreds of acres to roam around on, and there was none of this, like all the development and stuff you saw.
Yeah.
None of that was there.
Oh, no kidding, huh?
Yeah, this place was rural.
Just
back
wild,
then.
huh?
Yeah.
See, I recognize these guys.
This is Coy. And the
Coy? Mark.
Little feral child over there is Finn.
What's going on, Finn?
They'll be hanging around there.
Awesome. Well,
Yeah.
what should
All
we
right.
do?
Who's is it you two gonna be making the bows?
Yeah.
All right. Let's walk over here and I'll grab some wedges and axes and stuff, and we'll see how tough your hands are.
All right.
I better get my gloves.
Keep all the things and try to dry them out a little bit. Being in Florida, the humidity's pretty high.
Yeah.
Okay. So to get these things, I'm trying to get the moisture content down below about 10%.
Okay.
And the ambient, like if you just let them air dry here in Florida, the ambient, moisture content's going to be like 12.
Oh, okay.
And so I try to bring the humidity down and dry them out. And I've got them stacked in different stacks for, like that's kind of like junk. I just give that to people. You can still make bows out of it. It's just not something I would mess with.
Okay.
And then this is like stuff that I would use for classes because it's kind of easy. It's not real technical or challenging. And then that stuff over there is stuff that I use because maybe there's something in there that would make it a little bit more difficult to use for a class.
Okay.
This stuff up here looks like it's like brighter. Is that because it's newer?
Yep. Yeah. So all that up there is stuff that I just cut last year, and you can see that like you said, this is more yellow. This is darker because this has been sitting around for some of that stuff is 30 years old.
Oh wow.
And so as this stuff is exposed to air and sunlight, it'll turn darker over time. All right, let's go back over to the barn over there.
Cool.
So you can see the ring structure in this.
Yeah, those are real prominent.
Yeah.
Super tight, huh?
Well, so these are pretty tight out here, and as you can see, it was growing pretty fast, and then as it got bigger, it probably just got crowded with the other trees.
Okay.
Started growing smaller. But Osage is broken. It's called a ring porous hardwood, as opposed to a diffuse porous. Beck, you hit up there, kid. And it's broken into two very distinct kinds of wood. You got this, what they call late wood here, this darker stuff. And in Osage, that's real hard. Like this is green. This is still green. It's been sitting around for a year, but you can feel it. You can feel the difference between that, how clammy it feels.
Yeah.
And good dry wood. This stuff, when it's dry, this dark stuff is real hard. And when you start working with this wood, you'll see that this light colored stuff is real crunchy. And so what we're going to have to do is follow one of these rings, one annual growth ring along the back of that bow. And the way that you do that is you use your draw knife to go through this crunchy stuff, and once you hit that hard stuff, it'll slide along it. So it's like separating a layer cake at the icing layer, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so that unbroken growth ring, right, the back, when you draw a bow, the back is under tension, trying to be pulled apart, and the belly's under compression. And so the reason that it's important to have an unbroken ring is you just have that, all those fibers are in one plane, right? You don't have any area to create a fault line where that could come apart. But let me go ahead and lock this end off, and then we'll start splitting this thing.
All right.
It's so dense that it'll spit the axe back out if you're not careful. So, I mean, you can see that ain't straight. I actually split pretty good as far as like the twist goes. Didn't have as much twist as I thought. But you'll get 2 bows out of that, potentially 2 out of that.
Out of each one of these?
Yep.
Oh, no kidding, huh?
Yeah, I suppose it's not like you're gonna wrap the whole paw around the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, your bow's only gonna be about that wide. When we lay this bow out, like I'm looking at the stave and I'm thinking like, what's gonna make the most efficient use out of this wood? If I put the handle right here, this handle's gonna kick over and the bow's gonna kind of come to the left. So for a right-handed shooter, this will make, it's naturally gonna make a center shot bow. Are both of y'all right-handed or left?
Right-handed. Yeah.
Hold the bow in the left hand, shoot in the right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, string hand is a right hand.
All right.
Okay.
Got
Both of you right-handed?
Yep.
Okay, good. You just kind of got to look at them and figure out what the best way to lay the thing out is. And you're taking into account like knots. Like this is super clean. There's no knots in this thing at all, except for this, which is not going to be in the bow. This one has a couple of tiny little pin knots. So that would have been a branch. This is just a branch that never came out, right? So it sits under the surface.
Oh, okay.
So this right here, so if you look down at a nice cut of a tree and you see all those rings going down, we're actually looking at like a ring going down right there.
Yep. So that's
Wow.
one. You can see it. You can look at the end right here. And that,
Sure enough.
that outermost ring goes all the way down.
That's cool.
And you've taken it just to like the edge of, what'd you call that darker wood there?
The late wood.
The late wood.
Yeah. And so this lighter colored stuff, that's that early wood. And you can see little remnants of it, like this crunchy looking stuff right there. Looks like styrofoam or something like that.
Yeah.
That's what that is. And so, it's like these 2 really hard pieces of wood separated by this brittle, crunchy stuff. And so it's really handy for separating those rings.
Okay.
So we have to get below all of that sapwood to get into the heartwood before you start seeing those 2 different rings, those early wood and late wood rings.
Okay.
And the way I use these draw knives is bevel down. So if you use them bevel up like that, they just want to dig in. So bevel down, and then you just start pulling this sapwood off. And you're gonna pull it off until you start seeing that vibrant yellow heartwood. And this is not a delicate process, so just start ripping until you start seeing that stuff. And you can see how I'm not like coming straight at it, but kind of at an angle. Slicing that helps to get down under there. So there's your heartwood.
Okay.
Nice.
Just continue that process until this, just this exact spot here, until it's all the way across the...
So first you need to get all the sapwood off the heartwood, and then we'll worry about following a ring.
Okay.
So one of y'all can start working on this. Punch, and then you see this?
Yeah.
That's that early wood that's separating the rings.
Right.
So you see right here, you still got a little sapwood. Lean your draw knife over a little bit.
Like this?
Yep. Not right about an angle, about like that. Now take this piece off the top of this ring. And you can hear that crunch when you get it right. There you go.
Okay.
So now you see you took the sapwood off just and didn't go through this next ring. You just took it off the top.
Okay.
So
Okay.
this ring right here, so everything on top of this has to come off all the way up and down this thing. So take that knife, go ahead and sit back down.
Yeah.
You're gonna use that to stick right in that crunchy part and wedge this off the top of this. And so that crunch that you hear is very important. There you go. The crunch, you hear that?
Yeah.
You feel that?
Yeah.
That's what you want the whole time. That's that sound right there. You can kind of feel it through the knife too.
Yeah, you can.
It helps to scrape it and clean it up, and it really makes that edge that get defined, you know?
Yeah.
Defines it right there.
Yeah.
So I've just got my compass and I'll set it to something about like that, maybe 1 1/4 inch, 1 3/8. And then just draw a line on here. And then you're gonna take it down to this line. And so a couple of things you gotta watch for. See that? There's a tiny little pin knot right there.
Yeah.
And so that's too close. Like if this was gonna be the edge of the bow, that's too close to the edge. Because this grain comes and it goes around that, right? And so if you cut that close, you're gonna be cutting through grain. And so you either have to let the grain naturally swell around that, or you gotta get rid of it. Because if you leave one that close in the working part of the limb, that's another one of those weak spots, right? That's just a place for it to come apart. But the next thing is just to get down relatively close to this line. I'd say give yourself a little bit of maybe a 1/16 or an 1/8 or so play on the outside of it.
Okay.
And then we can move on. All right, so now what we'll do is just go ahead and lay your bow out. We'll cut this thing off a little shorter. Decide where your handle is going to be. So, going to use our highly technical piece of equipment here to
Very much.
worn out chop saw blade. So now just take the draw knife and get down pretty close to that line.
Okay.
And then I'll show you how to work these spades down.
Cool.
So everything, these are just rough lines, just as a guide. So this will be the depth of your handle right here. Your fades coming down into your limbs. Everything, all of this is just waste that's coming off. So once we get this knocked down, you're gonna have really wide limb tips. So then we'll come back, we'll get this down to the line, and then we'll go ahead and draw your tips on. So it's gonna fade or narrow into really fine little tips down there.
center line on here.
Okay.
And I'm gonna lay the tips out. So what I do is I like to make pretty fine knocks on my bows that I'll make, say, 10 millimeters wide, and then every 4 inches I'll just add 3 or 4 millimeters, depending on how fast I want it to taper, until I get to the full width. And I'll go around the bends and everything. Like if you feel like you can't get any closer with the draw knife, we'll move to the rasp. Very aggressive side, and then there's a smoother side. And it can take, if I'm not used to working with them, it can take a little bit getting used to because they're so aggressive. Like you don't need to put any pressure on this thing. And it helps if you just hold it with your arm like that. Just come right on down to the line. This is gonna be, that's gonna be your, that's gonna be the edges of your bow.
Got it.
But the tips look good.
I'll bring that on down then.
Yeah, that looks good. Just clean it up with the rasp. Get it right on down.
Okay.
Yep, doing good.
Awesome. Just taking shape, John.
The last line that I drew was not really critical. It's just a rough guideline. This is going to be more along the lines of where your bow's going to end up. And so it's easiest if you kick it over a little bit of an angle like that.
Okay.
And what we're going to do is we're going to take this corner off. We're going to take this corner off, and then we're going to be left with kind of like a ridge running down the
Like
center.
a point?
Yeah. And then we're going to start flattening that point out. Get as much of it as you can with that knife, and then you'll get right down to it with your rasp. And any little places that it has little dips and stuff like that, just follow it.
Okay, cool.
This Sharpie line, you can like take half of that line and leave half. That way you're within about a 1/16 of an inch of being on that line if you do that. Passing grade.
There you go, Mark. You gotta pee.
That's all I'm looking for.
You gotta pee.
So see, I've got that plane coming up like that. You should have about that same angle, so you shouldn't be changing pitches, right?
Okay.
You're gonna come to the other side and do it, and that's gonna leave you with a ridge running right down the middle.
Okay.
These bows, like that one that you saw there, there's all these wiggles in it, right? None of that stuff matters. The only things that has to line up is this knock with the center of the handle and that knock. So as long as those three things are in alignment, anything else doesn't matter.
Interesting.
And so you can look down it now and see that the limb tips are that way of the handle.
Right.
So we're gonna have to we'll bend this limb over, we'll bend that limb over, and then we'll bend something, we'll look at it, see what other adjustments we have to make, and we just keep on like that until we get everything lined up.
We're back upstairs so she can get some water.
Let's see what that does.
Now, Marco, if I may, Marco.
Yeah, what do you got, Jim?
You got,
I got a big thin spot here.
well, I'd say looking at it from this side.
Maybe on this side.
Oh, look at you. Yeah, it kind of is doing.
Yeah, got a little dippy do there. Clay, how do I fix what I got going on here?
Let's just see. Always watch those lines on the edge. I don't know if you were like coming down and not seeing it over here to get below it, but you didn't go too deep. But if you'd gone any deeper, you might have.
Okay.
So always watch them. Get that thing to an angle where you can see it. Alright, so it's straight enough now to really start tillering.
Okay.
And so at this point, it's just really stiff, but it's got a nice bend to it, right? You can't see any problems right off the bat. There's no hinges, meaning that it's a nice smooth arc from top to bottom.
Okay.
So now all you've got to do is maintain that arc. You start taking wood off, and that's going to reduce the weight.
Yeah.
So just start here and pull long straights all the way to the end.
Okay.
And you're going to be watching, you've got just this little remnant of this line left. Mm-hmm. You're going to be watching when you're scraping that you're not rolling off one way or the other and creating a thin side and a thick side.
Right.
And that's easy on those chairs, that's easy for people to do because when they start coming to them, they want to roll that scraper over.
Yeah.
So just keep an eye on that.
Is it?
Alright, so I want you to look at something.
Yeah.
Look right down this limb when I bend it.
Okay. Yeah.
So what do you see?
I see it bending right here.
Yes. So right in this area, it's bending more than anywhere else.
Right.
So this is the weakest area. So now we have to catch everything else up to that.
Okay.
Right. That's the whole tillering process is finding those areas that's doing the most work and making everywhere else take that burden. Right. You want that thing. You want all the pieces of the limb, all parts of the limb doing about an equal amount of work.
Gotcha.
If we continued on like this, just taking wood off everywhere, this would start bending too much. It would turn into what they call a hinge.
Right.
And we want to avoid that. We want a nice smooth arc over the whole thing.
Okay.
All right, so what we're looking for now is just major, just obvious problems. You know, I don't expect to find any, but. And so if you're shooting for, we'll shoot for 55, and because the bow's going to lose a little bit over time.
Okay.
And so right now we've already hit 55 pounds.
Yeah, that's not even.
Yeah, we're not even to brace height yet. But you can see that if you look at the bow on the right hand side versus the left hand side, like it looks like the right limb's bending more, right?
It does, yeah.
Okay. It's really not. It looks like it is because if you look at the left hand limb, you see how it kind of slopes up a little bit?
Yeah.
Sure. And then the right hand limb just is more straight.
Yeah.
Okay, so the limbs are probably doing the same amount of work, but because they're not even to start with, it just makes it look like the right limb's doing more work. And so what I normally do to fix that is I'll take this limb over here and heat it and put back set in it to make it match this left hand limb, and that makes it look a lot more even when it's sitting up there on that rack.
Okay.
But overall, at this stage, it's looking pretty good. So if you watch your scale down there, so let's say we're shooting for 55 pounds. I don't want to go over, say, much over 5 pounds over that. And so I may be hitting, so I won't go past 60 pounds, even though I might only be pulling the tips down 4 inches.
Okay.
And the reason being is if I pulled it to 80 pounds, there's still a bunch of extra wood on that belly right there, the belly side being the bottom side of that bow. And if I pull it to 80 pounds, it's just putting undue strain on that and it's compressing all of that wood down there. And it can cause it to take what they call set, meaning that when you unstring the bow, it stays bent. That's bad. You don't want that.
Yeah, you don't.
You want that thing to spring back to its original shape. And so we want to try to not stress the wood more than we have to.
Like a spring.
Yeah, exactly, like spring. Keep scraping for right now.
Okay.
And then when we get a little thinner, we'll go ahead and you can look down and see that back set versus this straight one. But we'll get it bending a little bit more, and then we'll heat it up.
Can do.
Right along here, keep it about 2 inches off, and just keep it moving. Looking pretty good. Keep on taking wood off.
Okay.
Feel it moving at all?
Yeah, I can feel it moving. I feel it creaking a little bit.
Budamus.
Gudemus? Is that German for good enough?
Yeah.
That's looking great.
How do you know which one's going to be your bottom, which part's going to be your bottom, which one's going to be your top?
On that one, I don't yet.
Not yet.
On Mark's, it's obvious because it's just the way the wood
Just
is.
Marco, creep up on that coos deer again.
You know which one is going to be the top one because of the way it is.
Yeah, that's right. Creep up on that coos. There it is. I still see it. The image is ingrained in my head. Fling that arrow, and this time with this one, it won't go low left.
Smack.
Connect.
That's right.
I like it. I think that's a real good plan, Jim. Hitting him is always a good plan.
That's right. That is perfect.
That's cool, man.
If you get one with it, it won't be one you won't forget.
That's true. That is very, very true.
I remember the first one I ever killed with a self-bow like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
We're at beer 30.
All right.
Good job, fellas.
Well, we just finished up chatting with Clay's dad. We're about to go on in, meet up with Clay for day 2 of bow building, Jim. And I have to
Your
say,
arms ready?
Surprisingly, yes. I was a little worried last night. A lot of arm exercise yesterday, but the bows appear to actually be taking shape. They are in some sort of bow form, at least right now, Jim. Yours is a little bit more so than mine, but as Clay would say, just keep shaving.
That's right. Bow's in there somewhere. Let's go find them.
Y'all want to just open that box in there and grab y'all's bows out of there?
Mark, you recognize which one's yours?
Wow. Let me see. Maybe this one. I think it's this one, Jim.
I believe this one's mine.
I mean, I think it's looking good. I don't know what Clay thinks, but
So we needed to reflex the other tip on that one. And then yours, I think we need to straight line it up a little bit better.
How much should I pull it? I remember you saying don't pull it too much.
So don't go over about 55 or 60
What
pounds.
does that say?
46.
6? Okay. Looks like it's bending right.
And different wood, like Osage, responds to heat like really well. Some other woods, like juniper, they don't like, it doesn't do the same thing, you know.
Interesting.
Eastern red cedar and juniper make a good bow, but it doesn't bend like this. Like if you try to do that with Eastern red cedar, you'd break it.
No kidding, huh?
But, I like it.
Okay. He likes it. I mean, it is crazy. I mean, these tips, I mean, they look a little wispy as it is, and then you cut into them that deep. It just doesn't seem like there's a whole lot holding it on, you know?
Yeah. Now you said something about, it's at this point you said you think you might be able to fit a short string
Yeah.
on there.
Like a regular string versus a longer tillering string. So a tillering string is just that long thing that drapes down.
Okay.
Oh, natural.
Look at that thing, Jay.
It's only about 90 pounds right now. It's looking pretty good. So take wood off everywhere that I don't have marks. So here and here.
Okay.
And take maybe, I don't know, 15 scrapes or so.
Okay.
So you're gonna come here and just kind of pull off, and then same here, and then just avoid those areas.
Okay.
Being careful not to make like where you stop, you know, blend it. Don't make it like a step up.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Okay. That's like maybe still a bit stiff.
Yeah, I think you're still a little stiff over there. Like right in this area.
Yeah. That's what I was seeing.
And I think like down here, it looks really thick right in here, but it's only because this side's a little thinner and this side was left a little thick. So maybe just kind of round this down a little bit so it's not the back so thick. The reason I put my hand up here is because that handle makes it look, it's like an illusion. So I cover the handle up and I just look at the limbs, and that helps.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So Clay, I've noticed like we're kind of working on the grip handle area kind of towards the end of this thing. So how is that affecting, like why are we doing that last? And then how is that affecting the limbs as we work on that area?
So this area of the fades is going to impact how the bow bends. Nothing in here matters.
Okay.
And the reason that I wait until the last thing to shape the handle is until you get the string on it and see how the string lays. You know, if you shape your handle up before then it's already shaped and you can't move it at all. So it's there.
Okay.
And then the only way to line things up is to heat it and bend it. But if you wait till the last, you can see if the string's off a little bit, then all you gotta do is roll the handle over a little bit to align with it.
Oh, no way. Okay.
Yeah, see how you gotta allow them to look at them individually. Just that one limb is so much further. So. Now, is there a certain number of pulls you gotta get to like set it, break it in a little bit, or is it just
I'm just slowly
repetition
working
to
my
get?
way down to 28. So you're at 52 at 28, and it's going to settle probably 49, 48, 48, 48, 49 at 28.
Wow. Perfect. That's awesome.
Look at that, Marco.
Son of a bee sting.
See,
man.
come on.
It looks like a bow.
Just pull on it, kind of work it back to your full draw. Other way. This is going to be your shelf right there.
Okay, gotcha.
So I like for my
Yeah, I like for the shelf to sit right on top of my hand.
Okay.
So when you grab it, just grab it right there, and then try to get your fingers kind of level with the top of your hand.
Okay.
Slide your string hand down a little bit.
Oh, weird. I'm totally used to being...
If it's too heavy, you can obviously take it down. So you just need to find like a good solid anchor on your face, your eye tooth, your cheekbone, something like that.
Mm-hmm. And where are you anchoring? Like part of your hand, or just the string itself?
I put this finger on my cheekbone right there.
Okay.
And generally my knuckle kind of comes behind my
Okay,
jaw.
I was gonna say, mine has always been like thumb knuckle, right in the spot that makes kind of like tongue flare up.
A little heavy.
A little heavy, yeah.
So again, take a little wood off of here, and take a little off up here. So whatever, take it off even both sides. So I don't know if you noticed or not, but this limb, when we took it off and unstrung it, this limb remained straight, or actually had a little bit of back set, and this one was staying bent a little bit.
Okay.
Did you notice that?
I didn't really.
So by bending this one the other way and heating it for those minutes that you heated it for, I was aiming to temper this, to harden this belly a little bit, and then also to put a little bit of a back set to hopefully try to make it match this limb after it's been strung.
It seems like it's pretty dang close.
It is, but you gotta, that you won't really be able to tell until you put the string on it and pull on it a little bit.
Okay.
And stress that
Kind
wood.
of have it settle.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's more even now too. I had to clear up that one.
See if it holds.
You mean as in like doesn't snap in half holds, or?
No, I mean, does it give up that bend that we put in it? And doesn't snap in half. That'd be a good thing too. If it didn't do that. I have really stiffened it up a lot.
Still not quite to the point though where it's going down to that 28-inch.
I could pull it down there, but
It'd be like 60 pounds probably, right?
yeah, you're at 50 at 24, so you're probably gaining 2.5 pounds per inch.
Mm-hmm. A little bit more shaving to do.
As far as the bend goes, you're still stiff here,
Yeah.
right in here. Right now looks pretty good.
Concentrate on those spots there then.
Yep.
Can do that.
Alright, so we'll go ahead and cut the shelf in, and then you can fling an arrow.
Oh, damn. That sounds fun.
Tell you what. Now it's looking.
It is.
Whatever shape you like. What my suggestion would be, some people like bigger or smaller handles.
Right.
I like a fairly fine handle.
Okay.
And so these little round rasps like this, I'd come in just underneath, like the bottom of your shelf's going to be here. Come in just underneath that, go down about as deep as that rasp's going to go, and then bring that rasp, that inset, all the way around to the other side. So you've got kind of this trough that goes around the whole thing.
Okay.
And then once you have that, you can, the back side, the belly side here, you're going to go in a little bit deeper, but then you're going to flare that out into the full width of this thing. And you can, like if you like that one with this fake snake skin on it, wherever that's at, you can kind of use that as a model.
Okay. Right.
So you make that V, and that bow sits right in there. And the contact point, like the pressure point, is right at the base of my thumb. And that, when you draw the bow,
that should shoot that pressure straight up your bone and through your shoulders.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah. Theoretically.
So you just shape your handle so that when you grab it, like your hand just fits right in there. You don't have to think about it.
Okay.
So let's talk about cracks.
Okay.
That right there, that is from the heat gun. Dry, like there's a little bit of moisture left in here, and when you heat it up, it drives the moisture out. And that's part of what hardens it. But you notice they're going with the grain.
Yeah.
They're longitudinal. Doesn't make it. You just fill them in with glue, and they don't make any difference at all. Cracks going across, that's a different story. Those are bad news.
Bad news.
Yeah. So
We don't have any bad news cracks.
Not yet. That means that the fibers are coming apart. Yeah. You know, if it's longitudinal, the fibers are just they're still connected. They're just not like glued together.
Each other. Okay.
I don't think we'll have any bad news cracks.
Cool.
All right, well, the monsoon seems to have subsided. Clay's got me working on the grip here, so he actually cut in the shelf up here, and then I'm coming in down here to start shaping this grip. So I'm gonna try and take this, I get this groove all the way around. It sounds like I've got a lot of material to remove, which actually that makes me feel good because I've got some room to play, a little bit of room to screw up perhaps, hopefully not, fingers crossed. But yeah, so just gonna continue working this all the way around the grip and start to shape it. So, but definitely starting to take form. I don't know, I thought it was taking form, yesterday as well. So, but it's cool to see it take shape.
Keep taking wood off the places where you've been taking them off of. Stay away from those squiggly lines.
Okay. No squigglies.
No squigglies.
Well, Clay says tap into your inner artist. So that is what I'm trying to do. I don't know if I found him yet, but we're looking. We're gonna finish these bows today. That I think would be pretty awesome. Very satisfying. And then we'll shoot bows today, I think, which will even be more satisfying and really cool. And I think we're gonna talk about making bows and shooting bows. Even cooler.
That's the idea. Let's get these things ready to send some death.
Or what Jim said.
Play. Wanna play?
All right, bows are in there. Y'all just grab them and keep on doing what you're doing.
Keep on sanding. Let's see if I still recognize mine. I do.
If you've got like heavy tool marks,
Yeah, I got some of that.
take that out with the 80.
Okay,
You can do it with that. It's just gonna take longer.
gotcha.
If you go with the grain, the scratches that you're creating with the sandpaper won't show up as much.
Okay, gotcha.
But like when you're taking real heavy stuff off like that, just go whichever way you need to go.
Okay, just go for it. Okay, cool.
Like this, the lighter colored stuff is the early wood, right? And then the darker colored stuff is the late wood. So this is a ring right here. And then this is some of the early wood. And then you see that ring pick up again.
When you put that steel wool on it, it'll make all that stuff really pop out.
Yeah, that's cool. Ooh, look at that. Steel wool. Not yet steel wool. And this is just a couple passes.
Last step in the old sanding process, Coop. Getting her shined up. This handle's gonna be awesome.
She looks nice.
Fine job. It'll do the trick.
What's that?
It looks like it'll do the trick.
I think so. There you go. Sorry, Coops got his focus set, and I'm like trying to jump into his camera.
You want to shoot it some, or you want to throw some sealer on it?
I want to shoot it a little bit.
Your string's hanging on that nail in there.
All right.
I think that's about as close to done as I can get it. I think that might shoot.
Are you ready?
Golly, they are pretty, man. With that grip. Just that grain. All sorts of stuff going on in there. I'm pumped to shoot it.
What you waiting for?
I know, right?
Let her rip.
More shine. Put some more shine on it.
Bring that thing over here.
There it is, Coop. They just made a string for it. Got it all strung up. I guess all that's left is to shoot it now, huh?
So if you enjoyed that video, be sure to check out the others in the series. Now, depending on when you're watching this, those may or may not be on the channel yet. So if you're not subscribed, go ahead and do that. Click that bell icon so you can get notified when they do come out. And then also, you might want to pop over to the Vortex Nation YouTube channel, because there's also a series of video podcasts that go along with these videos. They're very detailed, they're very interesting, and I had a great time talking to those guys. So with that, appreciate you watching, and we'll see you guys later.